Do you possess the personality traits of a die-hard entrepreneur? A decade of research will tell you. So researchers agree that there's certain personality types, and they usually have these 7 qualities in common for people that are entrepreneurs. I didn't realize this. They said there's over 30 million small businesses in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's the engine of the economy. Whenever they claim how small business, how's Main Street doing?
Right. It says the economy relies heavily on these businesses, of which John and I are, with Triberry Productions. We've got to do a commercial.
Well, did you, so I've been doing my own stuff since I was 25, or 26 when I opened my first agency.
So you've been an entrepreneur for a long time.
And I read these and I kind of enjoyed them. So
Would you call yourself an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I definitely would. Although I don't agree with every one of these traits. But
let's go through the 7. So what's the first one?
First one is open to experience. And basically, are you attracted to continually changing environments and the novelty of new challenges? If so, you are likely more open to experience than the general population. So the part that I didn't agree with is me personally, I don't like change. Changing my environment a lot is not my optimal thing. But I do like new challenges and puzzles to solve. So I would say open to experience does apply to me, just not the way they...
I was going to say you like to travel.
That's true, yeah.
Number 2 was you're less neurotic than the general public, and meaning that you have exceptional self-confidence and the ability to take risks for starting a venture. I think that's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have called it neurotic. But.
Yeah, and then they also claim in this thing that since most business owners hold the position of CEO naturally, because that's what they're doing, they don't need to be concerned with pleasing their boss. So apparently neuroses pop up when you're trying to please someone in the command.
You're anticipating what somebody
the command
needs.
chain.
What was number 3?
A high degree of self-efficacy. And they describe it like this. Do you believe in your capacity to do what it takes to achieve whatever it takes to succeed? This personality trait reflects confidence in your ability to exert control over your motivation, behavior, and social environment. This is where that determination and grit shines through. So self-efficacy means you're sitting in front of a client and they say, can you do this? And by the way, this has happened to me a lot. And you're in front of the client, so what do you say?
Of course.
Of course I can do that. And then you get it done. You figure out how to get it done. So I like that one.
Number 4, I thought this was a typo. Internal versus external locus of control.
What part did you think was the typo? Locus of control?
Locus of control I thought was an odd way of saying it. But essentially they were talking about whether you control your fate or you allow others to control your fate. And obviously entrepreneurs control their fate.
Yeah, in fact, the shading there was interesting because an entrepreneur will look at a problem and say, okay, it's a problem. I'm going to solve it. Others look at it and say, someone did this to me, or
the victim.
In fact, I think they used, they even say don't play the victim. Another trait of entrepreneurs and successful ones is a high level of conscientiousness. And this is a correlation between diligence and long-term venture survival. I had to puzzle about that. A conscientious entrepreneur is goal-directed, hardworking, and usually organized, open to experience, has emotional stability, and is often an extrovert. I read that and I thought, I wonder if Tim's going to say anything about that.
Well, I think you fit 1 or 2 of those.
Which ones do you think?
Well, you're certainly an extrovert. Mm-hmm. The openness to experience. Now, you said earlier you weren't, but I think
change, like changing environment.
Right.
You know, like let's move this here.
I thought this one was odd because it seemed to be a catch-all for the first 4.
Yeah.
This 5th one.
In other words, you're saying you could have all just dumped that into this. Yeah.
That you're conscientious, and it's the thing. If you said, "Can you do this?" Yes, of course. Number 6, the ability to improvise. The same thing. Adapt to change and improvise. And so that is also almost a repeat of the other one. But the ability to improvise, though, I think is a trait that's good for any job, whether you work for somebody or you have to be able to improvise and adapt. What was number 7?
And the last was less risk aversion. And this is a fascinating one because this is not so when they say less risk aversion, it gets a little in the weeds here because they claim that an entrepreneur or an owner of a company doesn't perceive risk the same way someone else does. Did you get that out of?
Yeah.
And so,
In other words, if you said, yeah, in the example they used, if you were someone who liked to parachute,
skydive, yeah.
right, or you were a
Mountain climber, scuba diver.
For you, that might just be a regular thing. For somebody else, it'd be like, oh
risky.
my gosh, right?
It's risky, yeah. So you're right, and your examples are perfect. We could leave it there because how we internalize our perception of risk. So apparently, externally, entrepreneurs have a high level. They're risk averse, but they are risk takers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.